Harimanada, the show that quite literally makes you stronger just by watching it. I'm so glad I finally get to talk about this anime. It starts off with a new Yokozuna named Harimanada, entering the ring with a bizarre max on. He then takes it off and declares that he will beat Fudabayama's streak of 69 wins. He also declares that should he lose at any point for any reason, he will retire. His entrance and declarations make him a big target for the other Rikishi and makes the audience hate him. Being that he goes against tradition and formality, Harimanada can be considered the antagonist. But man is he awesome. Every match for him will have his sumo career on the line, and yet he makes it look like that's not even the case. He does have a few close matches, but it feels more like I'm watching a body montage. It's a really fun anime to watch, but unfortunately it only had 25 episodes and was never finished. I'm not sure about the case of the manga, but I do know that the Mega Drive game released in 1993 kinda blows. Well, it does have some cool aspects, so let's talk about the positives first. If you couldn't already tell, Harimanada is a sumo-based fighting game. I expected the game to be just as grounded as the anime, but it actually has some pretty wacky moves you can pull off. I think this was the right move to make as it gives the characters more options other than the standard palm strikes. Another cool aspect is the story. There isn't a lot of it, but what we have here is interesting. It still follows Harimanada's road to 70 wins, but it introduces a brand new character that ends up becoming his rival. And then there's the music, and this is easily my favorite part about this game. The composers of this game also did the music to Shinobi 3 on the Sega Genesis, and you can tell just by hearing them. I swear, some of these tracks would fit right in with Shinobi 3. Weird that I'm praising the game so much despite me saying that it kinda blows. Well, the reason is because of the gameplay, which I feel is the most important part of any game. But first, let's go over the controls. A will perform a weak attack, B performs a strong attack, and C will grab the opponent. The goal of Harimanada is to defeat the opponent by depleting their health to 0, or by pushing them out of the ring. There are multiple ways to accomplish either condition, so let's keep things simple and start with movement first. You can move left or right, run by pressing forward twice, and you can jump by pressing and holding up. Tapping up is not enough since the game will not register a jump unless up was held for a brief moment. For basic strikes, you can perform palm strikes with A or B, or perform a leg sweep by holding down while pressing either button. The weird part is that if you hit the opponent with a palm strike, they can immediately retaliate during hit stun by performing the same strike they were hit by. So technically, both of these attacks are a minus on hit. You can also perform a jump attack by pressing A while midair. For some reason, there are a few characters that cannot perform this at all. Blocking is a bit flawed. It seems like attacks will either hit as an overhead or as a low attack. This is on top of blocking having startup frames, which makes certain attacks flat out unblockable, especially the jumping attacks. Assuming you can block an attack, it will either negate the damage or lower it. You can still be defeated by chip damage, so keep that in mind. Now of course there are the special moves in this game. Some characters will have one or more moves that are specific to them, but the ones I'm about to mention can be done with any character. The headbutt is done by pressing B while running. This move is ridiculously busted since it can loop into itself as an infinite combo. It is more difficult to perform against the smaller sumo wrestlers, but it's still really effective. You can actually counter the opponent's headbutt by pressing quarter circle back with B. This will make them stumble forward, which can cause a ring out if done near the corner. The jumping headbutt is done with a dragon punch motion. It can be rather annoying to deal with this move since the character will jump back even if it misses. Doing quarter circle forward with B while close will strike the opponent with multiple palms. This is technically a grab since it's unblockable, but the opponent can escape sooner by mashing A. Lastly, there's the infamous stun clap. The manual says that it requires a full circle along with B, but it can be done as a 270 motion. This is one of the most overpowered moves I've ever seen in a fighting game. It stuns the opponent, has fast startup, and it has infinite range. Even if the opponent was mid-air, it will make them fall and land in a stunned state. Being that this move is unblockable, this obviously means that you can do this at any time for a free opening. You can also stun the opponent by dealing a lot of damage in a short amount of time. To recover from stun, you will have to mash A as fast as possible. Now I need to remind you that everything I just mentioned is universal. Because all of the characters can use these moves, the game becomes pretty mindless in versus play. Start with stun clap, then start the headbutt loop. And the funny part is that I didn't even mention how the grabs and ring outs work. As mentioned earlier, you can grab the opponent by pressing C. It won't happen at all if you're far away, and it will happen instantly if you're point blank. At the start of the match, the characters will automatically grapple with each other after a brief moment. Or you can input an attack command right when the music starts, such as starting with an unavoidable stun clap. When the sumo wrestlers grapple, both will have multiple options. Both can move by holding left or right, but you should obviously go for some kind of command grab in this case. As with the special moves mentioned earlier, any character can perform the upcoming commands. By mashing A, you will eventually escape the grapple. By inputting quarter circle forward, you'll push the opponent forward. This is great against the CPU, but the opponent can act before your animation ends. Quarter circle back with A will perform a side switch, and quarter circle back with B will perform a shoulder throw. Both of these won't always work since they have a high chance to fail. However, the back toss done by pressing forward up back with B will always succeed no matter what. This is one of the best grabs in the game, and they can lead to a ring out if done near the corner. Lastly, there is an aerial grab that's done by pressing B mid-air while holding left or right. This will only work against mid-air opponents, and it will toss them in the direction you are holding. This is yet another way to ring them out. Speaking of ring outs, it can either be seen as the best or worst mechanic of this game. Some ways to ring out the opponent include striking them near the corner, air throwing them out of the ring, or by countering their headbutt. However, the main way of ringing them out is kinda ridiculous. If you grab the opponent and push them while they're at the corner, both of you will enter an animation. During this, you have to mash A as fast as possible in order to win. If the opponent mashes faster, then they will recover and push you back a bit. Another ring out animation is done by performing a grab while you're cornered. In this instance, the round will go to whoever mashes the fastest. The problem I have with this mechanic is the mashing, not only because of how mindless it is, but also because it only counts for the A button. Mashing the other buttons would do absolutely nothing. Alright, so I want to apologize for the change in quality, but I just want to bring an interesting point. So, when it comes to fighting games in general, I usually mash by using both of my fingers. So for example, like, if I'm mashing out a stun in a different game, I'll just do this, right? Or something like that. It depends, really. But for Harimanada, you can only mash by using the A button, and for normal and hard mode, I have to do this. Right? However, as you get further and further in the game, the mashing gets a bit unreal, especially in hard mode at like the last 10 or 20 fights. So this is not good enough. Instead, you have to do something like this. You have to like mash it like a machine gun, and you can imagine for like 70 fights, which they actually want you to do, doing this every time you go for a ring out gets very, very tiring. So, anyways, like, I think you get my point. I don't agree with this. Like, if I'm playing, again, usually when I'm playing a fighting game, I'm just like mashing like this or something like that. But because you have to use one freaking button, this game can get very tiring if you're trying to go for ring out. So, I just wanted to bring that up real quick, and yeah, let's get back to the video. And that's about everything I had to say. I didn't go over the character specific moves, but you can always check that out and more by reading the game facts guide below. With that said, let's get into the story mode. Alright, and this is my long play of Harimanada for the Sega Genesis. Now, I'm not going to commentate over the entire thing. I should mention that the difficulty is on hard mode, which is Yokozuna. And I'm going to mention a few aspects right now. In fact, I might as well mention why I'm not going to commentate over the whole thing. Pretty much the problem is, this game is 70 fights long, and I wouldn't mind talking over those 70 fights, but being that the characters are very, very similar to each other, it would get very redundant. Especially since I didn't use that many different strategies as this, I just stick to like 2 or 3. But yeah, like there's really not a whole lot to say about the gameplay that I didn't already mention, because facing against the CPU isn't very fun. Now, in this intro, it's pretty much what I mentioned in the intro of this video. Is Harimanada. Wait, I don't know why I said Harimanada, but it's Harimanada himself, like being the new Yokozuna. He enters the ring with a mask, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to beat this 69 win streak, and I'm going to, if I lose at any point for any reason, I will retire." Funny thing I should mention, I guess I might as well mention two things. For anyone that doesn't know, Yokozuna is the, hopefully I'm not mistaken, it's the highest rank that any sumo can achieve. And the 69 win streak by Futabayama, hopefully I pronounced that, I didn't mispronounce that. That's actually real, like that, like there's a real life person that named that who actually got 69 wins, which I think is pretty interesting. So right here you can see that I'm resorting to the headbutt loops. So I guess I might as well talk about the gameplay, right? Now the thing is, the game only accepts your inputs when the music starts. And to do the stun clap, you have to do like a 360 or a 270 motion. Obviously, I do the 270 motion. But because the game only accepts your inputs when the music starts, you have to wait until the music starts. Like if you do the motion before then and then press the button, nothing will happen or you get the wrong move. So once the music starts, that's when I do the motion and then press B to get the stun clap. And you don't have to be too fast with it. I found that if you're not like kind of like slow medium, like with doing the 270, like the almost a full circle, that it comes out a bit more consistently, like you can see here. And then from there you just want to do the headbutt loop. Now the way I do this is obviously by spamming the headbutt, but the thing is you kind of have to like, the headbutt won't come out if you're not running. So when I do the headbutt loop, I do forward, and I gotta make sure that I keep forward held when I press B to guarantee that the headbutt comes out. And then after that, let go, do forward again, and then hold forward and press B. It's not that hard to do. With enough, with just a few minutes of practice, you get the hang of it. I don't think it's that difficult. If anything, I think the headbutt loop is easier to do than actually performing the stun clap, because there are times there are actually plenty of times in this run where I actually didn't get the motion out, and like it caused the match to kind of go south. So yeah, so I should actually talk about the story mode. So yeah, I'm not going to commentate over the entire thing since it's very repetitive, but I'm still going to mention the story cutscenes here and there when they pop up, and there are also a few other things I didn't mention. So first off, no matter which difficulty you're playing on, you only get 3 continues. Now, this game is 70 fights long, which is like, the problem is it's a fighting game. And as natural for a fighting game, the AI is, to be blunt, it's fucked up, alright? I hate fighting game AI with a passion. I'll say, I'll be on the last, so I'll always say this, but people talk about like, what am I saying? I don't want to like assume people talk about this. I don't know if they are or not, but some people will complain about certain aspects in the fighting games. I'm just complaining on how the CPU is like the worst thing to fight against, and how you need a friend to enjoy a fighting game. But that's a completely different topic. Maybe stay on point. Anyways, my point is 70 fights and 3 continues is kind of rough, because the CPU can and will do a lot of BS, and that includes mashing faster than you, which will definitely start happening at the later fights, or they'll start countering your moves, or they'll start jumping with you when you jump. And the worst yet is when the music starts and they just frame 1 music start, they instantly perform a move that's impossible for you to do. Like you can't, I don't think it's actually physically possible to do a full circle with B on frame 1 when the music starts. Like you have 1 frame to do it. Like that's just like, no, that's ridiculous. So obviously there's some like Street Fighter like AI nonsense going on where they will instantly perform special moves. They don't need to charge their moves. They would just do it while walking forward and all that stuff. A lot of cheap stuff, and 3 continues isn't a lot. Now thankfully, which is coming up right here, every 7 or 8 fights, you actually get a password. It's like the one right below it, the second line. And using the password actually gives you your continues back. So if you ever get game over, you can just use the password. You might be sent back a few matches depending on how far you got after getting the password. But other than that, the game is rather forgiving in that regard. So even though it's really difficult to get through 70 fights with 3 continues, there's always a passwords feature if you just want to get back to where you were. Now, what else is there to mention? Yes. Oh, yeah, that's another thing too with the passwords. The first 4 letters and characters of the password represents the difficulty. So, you see that like at the beginning of that password, it showed like 3 H's and an exclamation point. That means that I'm playing on hard mode. But if you want to, you can use I mean, it'll be in the game facts guide, or I don't know if I'll put an image up or whatever. But there is like, you could just change those first 4 letters to do normal mode instead if you want. But the thing is, oh, I should talk about the difficulties too. Wow, there's actually more to talk about than I thought. I'm surprised. But in easy mode, there's only 15 fights, and oh, am I going to even show that ending? Maybe I should. Maybe I'll show that at the end. I'll see. But on easy mode, there are 15 fights, and when you finish it, you get a different ending. I think it's Harimanada's lover actually talking to you, like congratulating you. But it's pretty much not like the real ending you're supposed to get. Now, finishing it on normal mode, you actually get the ending. And finishing it on hard mode, you get the ending. But you'll also get a pretty neat bonus scene that, if you know about it, cool. If you don't know about it, I'm not going to spoil it yet. But I'm not expecting anyone to watch this video all the way through. I'll probably just put like timestamps of each cutscene and whatever, so that whoever's watching this can just skip to that instead. Because again, the game is 70 fights, and you can see that like it gets really, really repetitive. Even I'm doing like the same strategy over and over. And yeah, I could mix it up, but the problem is, 1, it's hard mode, so the CPU is very cheap. And 2, it's just like, I wasn't expecting to get through this without using a continue, alright? It is possible, but I had 1 match where I legitimately lost. I don't know when it was. I think it might be like around 40 or 50. And then I had 2 more matches where I tried to make them look interesting, but I actually ended up losing trying to do that, so I just went back to the normal strategy of stun clap into headbutt. So I actually did use Audrey continues for this run, but I did manage to get through it eventually. Like, I didn't get game over, thankfully. But yeah, like this game is just kind of rough. It's very repetitive. I will say that. I'll save my well, I'm talking really fast. I'll save my opinion for the credits, but I'm trying to make sure there's nothing else to talk about. I feel like I already talked about like the main stuff, like the cutscenes and all that. Coming up should be another cutscene actually, so I'm gonna wait for that first. It should be after this match right here. Yeah, you can see the people in the ring like lining up. That means like a cutscene's about to happen, I think. And yeah, just for most of the run, it's just stun clap into headbutt loops. Otherwise, I usually do I just grab them and then go for a ring out, which is what I usually do against the smaller sumo, since the headbutt loop doesn't quite work as consistently. You can risk it against them, but if they counter your headbutt with the dodge, which is I think quarter circle back B, and you stumble forward, then you most likely lost. Like, that's it. Anyways, right here is another password, and after this should be Act 2. I think Chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there it is. And this is where they actually introduce Harimanada's rival. So, because Harimanada is breaking tradition, you know, entering the ring with like masks on. If you actually watch the anime, he enters the ring in like different ways and stuff. I think there's one where he's like flying around in like a dragon mask. It's like really cool. But pretty much he's been breaking tradition and formality. Like, obviously he's very disrespectful to the world of sumo. So the chairman and like the association, they really want him to lose, like just retire. So they ask for the help of this guy, which is, I think his name is Kishin Ryu. He's a sumo wrestler that got suspended for assault, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, they depending on him to stop Harimanada's success, because like, again, like at this point he already has 15 wins. Like, someone has to stop him, right? And as mentioned in the intro of the video, this is like an original story in a sense. Obviously, it's still following like Harimanada trying to get the 70 wins, but it's not like it doesn't have all of the story beats of the anime. And what I mean by that, it's like, yeah, it's him going for the streak, but like the anime, there was moments where like I'm like the cutscene where he meets his lover, I should say the episode. The other episode where he was going into like other stables and like challenging the other sumos and stuff. Like just like a lot of stuff that's missing in the story for this game. But I'm not complaining, like the story works well enough. I think it's alright. I thought it was pretty interesting too because it's like you got Harimanada here who's like technically the antagonist, but you also have this like assassin dude, this just get this sumo that got suspended and he wants to go after him too, but he's technically a bad guy, but also technically a good guy since Harimanada's the one that's like the problem to like the sumo association. I mean, I still think he's a badass. I don't care. You ain't changing my mind on that, but yeah, I just thought the idea was interesting, I guess. Now, is there anything else I'm missing before I mute my mic? I mean, again, I don't remember when I lost. I know one of my losses was like later on, and then two of my losses was like around the last 10 matches. But other than that, this run wasn't too bad. It went as well as I expected. I went into it knowing that at one point I'm gonna get unlucky or screw up and lose. But yeah, it went pretty well. And anything else? No, I think that's pretty much it. Like, at this point, is this going to get really, really repetitive? And yeah, that's it. Like, you still see the strategies here and there, but there's not much else for me to talk about. So from this point, wow, what the hell is going on there? From this point, I'm going to be on mute, but I will occasionally talk about the story cutscenes and all that. And again, I will put timestamps for each one, because I'm not expecting you to watch this whole thing. It's just this. It's technically the same exact fight over and over and over and over and over again. Like, it's the same sumos and all that, because the game only has I guess I mentioned that too. The game only has 24 sumos in total. Only 15 of them are selectable in the versus mode, but even looking at the 24 sumos, like even the ones that are unplayable without like cheats or something, they have the same moves. Now some of them do have like specific moves, like you saw earlier that sumo that was like spinning with the flames and all that stuff. But some of those are shared too. Like there are other sumos that can do that move as well. And Harimanada has some special moves too. I think I actually used one of them at some point during the run. I think it's much later on. But ooh, that's another thing I should mention too. Wow, I got so much to talk about. I'm sorry, I'm really shocked. I thought I was just gonna talk for like 2 minutes and be done, but all right. So another cool thing I kind of like about this game. So if you're playing on normal or easy mode, for anyone who's watched the anime, I don't know if I'll show a clip or whatever, but there's actually his very first fight or something like that. He's facing someone that depends on like slapping, like, you know, strikes. And Harimanada just defeats him in one blow. Like he just like hits him once and he gets pushed out the ring. Like he just starts flying. And the cool part about this game is that if you do Harimanada's charge back and then forward B against the very first opponent, it will actually one-shot him just like in the anime, which again, it's a small touch, but I really like aspects like that. I thought that was pretty cool. And again, as mentioned before, that only works on normal and easy mode. If you play on hard mode, aka Yokozuna, I think it only deals like 25 to 30% of his health, but yeah, I thought it was a really cool aspect. And something I probably should have tested is, I don't know if that's like, if it deals the same amount when you face him again, because again, there's 70 matches, but there are only 24 sumo, so obviously you're gonna be doing like repeat fights against the same ones you already fought, I should say. And I don't know if like the first sumo, when you fight him again later on, I don't know exactly what match. I don't know if whatchamacallit, I don't know if like the same thing works where like if you're playing on normal mode, you can just one-shot him by doing the special move. Anyways, I will be back for when the next cutscene happens. Just be on the lookout for the Scarred Sumo, which is Kenshin Ryu, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I'll see you then. Alright, so this is Act 3, or I should say Chapter 3. And not much happens in this chapter. As you can see, Kenshin Ryu, he is really mad that he lost to Harimanada. Like, I think this is just him saying why? Like, he is just losing his shit. I mean, he has a lot of honor, I guess. I don't know what to say, but like, just that one loss was all it took. And yeah, this is just Harimanada sleeping. I don't think not much happens here. And the story, actually, I'll probably put a timestamp for it too. But you do face the rival again during this act, and after you defeat him, you get one more short cutscene. So just be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I'll be back later. Alright, so he actually loses, and I think this cutscene is him like actually having an idea of how to defeat Harimanada. And you actually see that idea come to, I mean, I don't know if I should say come to fruition, but you see that idea like happen later on once Act 4 starts. Alright, so this is Act 4, and right now Harimanada is on a very huge win streak, and to Harimanada and well, I should say the coach's surprise, Kishinryu actually pops up and wants to switch stables, and I'm pretty sure it's Harimanada's stable that he wants to go to. Like, you know, like the stable is where like the sumos train and whatnot. And yeah, like the coach has a problem with it, but Harimanada doesn't really care. He doesn't mind it at all. So I guess this is Kishinryu's like idea of trying to like, you know, find a way to surpass Harimanada in order to stop his win streak. And the funny thing about this is that after this cutscene, you won't see him during all of Act 4. You actually see him come back in Act 5, and I'm pretty sure Act 5 will mention that, but I guess we'll wait till we get there. And yeah, the game just goes on. Alright, now this is Act 5, Part 1. And at this point, Harimanada has 60 wins. Even though like the audience really hated him in the beginning, I don't know if they're starting to like him now, but obviously they're really interested to see if he's actually going to break the like world record win streak. And it's at this point that Kinshiryu still hasn't popped up yet. Like, he only popped up twice. And now it's very likely that he's going to pop up at the very end, which is actually I'm pretty sure that's what they mentioned too, because they were like, you know, he wasn't there in Act 4, so surely this is where he makes his return, right? Now for this act, this is where I was actually messing around for a little bit. You can see here that I was spamming the unblockable jump attacks, and the reason why I was doing this is because this is actually the strategy I mentioned in my guide, where for matches 61 and 62, I did use a lot of jumping attacks. But the thing is, this does actually backfire in the next match, and I just had to resort back to the headbutt strategy. And yeah, for this act, I just messed around for a little bit, but I still wanted to do the headbutt loop because I didn't want to like risk losing the run completely from just running out of continues and getting game over. But yeah, with that said, I'll see you for when we get up to the final cutscene. Alright, this is the finale, Act 5, Part 2. And Harimanada is 1 win away from beating the world record win streak. Now, it is pretty hopeful that they gave you a password for when it was like 68 wins, so if you use that password, all you gotta do is win twice to beat the game. And as usual, Harimanada, I should say. I don't know why I freaking like started there. But he enters with another mask. Again, I'd say please, if you haven't already, watch the anime. Like, it's really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. I am convinced that I've gained 10 pounds of muscle from watching that show. But it's just like, it's a really cool anime. Again, he has a lot of mags for like a sumo. It's really cool. And again, like, just the story and even the fighting itself it's really cool, you know. It's not amazing, you know, it's an older anime, so it might not be for everyone, but it's still really cool. Now, in this part of the cutscene, something weird is going on. The lights dimmed again, but Harimanada already did his entrance. It turns out Kishin Ryu also has an entrance with a mask, and even better, or worse, however you put it, he has a kabuki face. So now it's like there are 2 Harimanadas in the ring, and this is this is it. This is the final battle. So it pretty much anything can go here. And yeah, this is actually the final boss. And he's actually not selectable with that coat of paint on his face. But wow. So yeah, I lost really fast here. And the reason is because he did the stun clap first. I messed up my motion, and I didn't get the headbutt loop there. The thing is, he's doing a secret move that the manual hints at. It doesn't tell you the command, but the command is down, back, down, forward, B while close enough, and he'll headbutt you repeatedly. The move is good in that it deals a lot of damage, but it's bad in that it leaves both of you stunned and the opponent always recovers first after you use it. And you can actually use this move even if you pick him in the versus mode. Like, you don't need that specific version of him to use it. So, being that I had no continues left, I had no choice. The stun clap, headbutt loop, done. Just done with the game. We can move on, right? And yeah, that is Harimanada for the Mega Drive. Man, what to even say? Well, the ending is pretty simple. It's the reporters and all that asking like Harimanada, like, what do you think about this? Like, him breaking the record. And of course, he will respond in one of the best ways he knows how. And the chairman pretty much has to admit that, like, Harimanada is actually strong. Like, he actually I think that scene's about to come up right now, but Like, so you see right here, he just Harimanada just does this. And yeah, like the chairman just has to respect that Harimanada is strong. He tells the coach that he raised a very great sumo wrestler, aka Rikishi, and the coach says thank you. And yeah, that is the end of the game. Now, again, as usual, I will put a timestamp for what's coming up after this because right now is the credits. And after the credits will be a very, very interesting dance scene. And I won't even talk over that one. I'll let you experience that for yourself. But I am going to use this time to talk about pretty much, I guess, my final thoughts on this game. Um, you can like it or hate it, I think. Like, this game could be considered average, I guess. I see why someone would like it. I see why someone would hate it. I'm not really a big fan of this game, which is a shame because I actually really love the anime. I guess I feel like I've said this in the past. I'm pretty sure I said this with the Ninku games, but that's something completely different. And I don't think it's a case of like, oh, I hate this game. I think this game is awful. It's like absolutely despicable or something like that. And because I did have fun with this one, I enjoyed the game a lot. Look, if a game has good music, I'll play it. All right, I don't care how bad it is. If it has good music, I will play it. Unless it's like hella very insufferable, I don't know. But this game in general, like, it has cool aspects, but I think it's just held back by being a sumo game. And since, you know, sumo has very strict rules, the characters can't really do anything to, like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know what move they could have made to make this work. I think that's my personal take on this. It can be enjoyed. I do think that when you try to learn it and you realize just how broken it is, that it gets worse. But it's not I wouldn't call it like one of the worst games ever. It's okay. So if you like it, that's cool. If you hate it, I understand. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this long play, and with that said, I'll see you later.